Welcome to the Home Services Success Stories podcast powered by Peakzi, the number one AI platform for growing your home services business. I'm Julian Placino, your host, and we have another inspiring show in store for you today because today we have Scott Knuckles, who is the president and general manager at Adam Vaillancourt Roofing. Scott, welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's going terrific. Thanks for having me, Julian.
Absolutely. And really appreciated having Adam on the show previously and really getting an understanding of the business overall, the genesis and all that. But I know we want to go a bit further deeper into a few things here with you today. So really excited for you to spend some time with us, Scott.
Yeah, 100%, man. Happy to join.
Well, let's jump in and give us a bit about your background because you're really interesting. You don't necessarily come from home services. You spent 25 years at Fidelity and then made the switch to home services. So give us a bit about your background, Scott.
Yeah, I spent 25 years at Fidelity, relocated, several times and got the pleasure of working in a variety of different businesses and candidly never saw myself actually managing a home services business. But my neighbor, who happened to be Adam Valancourt, changed all that. And in short, he and I started playing tennis together every week, twice a week, and that was born out of a Christmas party in the neighborhood where he showed up, and we started talking, and it was as if we had known each other our whole lives. And for 2 years, we played tennis together, never having spoken about working together. I had no intentions of retiring from Fidelity, and he had no intentions of hiring someone from Fidelity or financial services to run his business. But after 2 years, he had an aha moment where he was playing. I think he was at a business conference, maybe playing basketball or something, and he was with another owner, and another owner said, be careful, the person that might be your next GM or might be the person that runs your business is your neighbor. And he said, I got this guy. We play, basketball every week together, and I'd love to hire him, but he cheats. And he said, I mean, he's an amazing guy, but other than that, I'm like, I can't really hire him if he's going to cheat in basketball. And Adam and I are so similar in that if the ball is close, it's in. And so he seeing me play for 2 years and then understanding, the role I was in at Fidelity, had been an executive for many, many years. He said, "Hey, I want to talk to you about something." And the next thing you know, one thing led to another, and I joined his business. And for a couple of years, he really took the time to kind of show me the ropes of home services. And then I brought a collection of experiences and knowledge. So melding those together made a difference, and I'm grateful to be here.
Wow, power of relationship. First off, that was the
Yes,
genesis of everything. It wasn't business related or anything like that. It was the
that's right.
friendship. What was it that kind of drew you to Adam? What do you think was kind of the initial sort of bonding there, I guess?
I think a few things. I'd be lying if I didn't say our faith. We're
Hmm.
both grounded. Our faith is really important to us. So that was one of the things that grounded us. And then my love for business and his love for his business. And I would ask him, how are you operationalizing this? What programs do you have in place for that? Tell me about your PMP. Just out of curiosity, not having any desire to join his company. And I said to him, I said, Adam, you run your business like a large business. I said, it's far more successful than I think you imagine it is. I said, some of the things you're deploying in your business are things that large companies scale using. So I said, you should be really proud of what you have. And so talking about faith, talking about business, and then just a love, a competitor spirit, like we will die on the tennis court, chasing down every ball. So, those things just really gave us a passion. And I think overarching all of that is Adam. Adam is such a passionate person that you can't help but appreciate the infectious spirit he has. And he's one of the most authentic owners or people I've ever been around. He'll take advice from a janitor. I see owners, I'm working with owners now
Hmm.
where you have to be careful because they think they know everything because they've kind of seen everything. Adam will take advice from a janitor. He'll take advice from anybody. And I thought, wow, that's really great that you keep yourself in a posture whereby you're willing to be open and continue to learn, even though you probably have the answer or have already experienced it before. So I thought with him, the level of authenticity just blew me away. And he's very humble. You know,
Mhm.
whatever struggles he has, or he's like, "This is me. This is what's going on." And I loved it. I'm like, "Wow, man, more people would be served better if they, had the level of authenticity he had." And it certainly taught me some too.
Yeah, I think that's great. So, kind of what I heard is that you're very similar way of being in terms of your faith, your values, your interest and
Yes.
love for business and being competitive. I think that kind of like joined you all. And you're right, he is so passionate and humble. And during our conversation, he actually got emotional talking about the business that just shows the love and
Yes.
intensity and has in what he does. So Adam is definitely a great leader. So, well, tell us about your actual background at Fidelity. What did you do for 25 years and why did that translate so well into home services?
Yeah, it's interesting. So I got my bachelor's degree in psychology, so had nothing to do with business. I was going to be a counselor,
Mhm.
served 4 years in the military, and then went to college and said, I'm going to go into counseling. And in the grand scheme of things, what I ended up realizing is that after working for a group of psychiatrists, psychologists, and licensed professional counselors, I just realized that you have to be comfortable being in a place where not many people get helped.
Mhm.
And so I said to myself, what am I going to do then? I'm working at this psychiatric practice. I'm no longer going to pursue that. And then my heart ended up being drawn toward business. So I went to work for MetLife. And then for MetLife, I was in individual sales. I got my securities license, and that's what led me into investing. And I loved understanding the investing world. And so I'll try to run through very quickly because it's kind of a long resume of jobs over 25 years. But I started as a temp at Fidelity in their institutional 401k business, and from there I started traveling full time, educating large companies and their employees on how to learn how to invest, how, the basics of investing, how economics impacts your investing, and working with management and HR to educate them on how to drive enrollment rates for employees because it creates satisfaction and it certainly helps people retire more comfortably. So I did that, and then from there, my wife and I had a child, and she's like, "Hey, you're gonna keep traveling?" And I said, "I love it," but she said, it's not a way to live," and so I went into management. And so from there, I got my MBA from Boston University. Fidelity graciously sponsored me for an executive program, and then my first big job was managing about 65 people in our institutional business.
Mhm.
And what really started my career is we opened up a location in Merrimack, New Hampshire. So I was launch employee, and then I grew it to 140 people.
Wow.
And then within 3 years, I moved to Garden City, New York on Long Island, and I ran one of our flagship uh, um, retail investor centers. So I moved from institutional to retail now. I had no experience in that, dealing with the individual investor versus the institutional investor. And so from there, I went to corporate, and you can see how this would help me in home services. They invited me to come and work on businesses within Fidelity to make them either more efficient or more effective. And so after a few years doing that, my last business that I evaluated, they asked me to run. So I relocated back to New Hampshire again. So that's when I met Adam, basically. So 12, in short, 12 jobs in 25 years, if you can believe it. And the only reason I left was not because of Adam. It was because I really felt in my heart that, uh, within 2 years I'd be leaving Fidelity and they offered retirement packages
Hmm.
on during that timeline, that 2 year time frame. And I just knew it's one of those God moments where it happens to everybody, but you feel something so strongly that you can't not do it. And so they offered retirement packages, and I said, I'm actually leaving Fidelity. I can't believe it because I loved every minute of it. But then right during that time, that's when Adam's like, Scott,
Wow.
the business, and I think for a small business owners hearing this, there's hope for you
Hmm.
because what you do, what I can't do what a small business owner can do. I don't start businesses. My gift is to take what an owner wants to see happen
Mm.
and bring it into reality. And I say to small business owners out there, if you're at that point, like even the psychiatrists that I work for that love doing what they do, but do not like running a business, you should look for help because there are people that can help you take your business to where you need it to go without you working more hours. And for Adam, Adam was basically like, Scott, I'm working. I can't put any more hours in this business. I'm giving it everything I have, and it's the business is doing well. I'm not doing well. The company's doing well. My family's not getting enough of me. And so I said, you know what, Adam, this is what I do. Like I make businesses run more efficiently and I find a way to make them run more effectively. And so when he hired me, we were around 12, 11-ish, $12 million. Now we're going to do 27 to 30 million.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's in 5 years. But I say to owners out there, if you're exhausted and you're tired, make an investment in somebody that can take what's in your head, if you're willing to be humble, and let them run with some things that you'll build trust and partnership. And then hopefully Adam would tell you this has been a blessing to him and it's been a blessing to me. It's been an amazing partnership. So, but I do see a lot of companies just struggling today. I know we're going to talk about AI, but I see companies struggling because people are used to doing things the old way and they don't see that there are new ways, exciting ways, whether through technology or through people that are going to come in and say, "Hey, I can help you with this. And if you'll let me, I'll do it faster, cheaper, and far more effective than you're doing it today." But a lot of owners, they got to get out of their own way first to say, okay, and what worked for me, I'll say this last thing. What worked for me is I needed Adam desperately because he had all the tribal knowledge, the the institutional knowledge of home services. I didn't have any of that. But do I know how to run a business? 100%. Do I know how to design systems? Absolutely. Do I know how to use software and capabilities to help? Yes, I do. So I can bring some things that I believe could help, but then Adam had to pour into me and us partner together on things that would help, you know, relate to this business.
There's a lot there, but I think the biggest key that I heard was that you sort of complemented each other. In like the EOS model, there's like the visionary and integrator. Adam, of
Yes.
course, is like founder, visionary, and you're the integrator. You took the thing that he made and you grew it because you're like the people, process, and systems guy. And
Yes.
together you were able to grow. A couple things that I wrote down about your background. There was always like leadership, there was management, there was people, there was growth, and also education. And all that seemed to work very well, specifically in this role here. And man, it makes total sense. I think that's great. Yeah, I mean, are there any other pieces there that you think are worth mentioning? Because that was a huge thing, because you were like the unlock for Adam, you know?
Well, I'd say this, like probably the hardest part about meshing two people together. I call it a work marriage.
Hmm.
I don't say that term lightly. I don't even like saying it, but it's a fact. Everybody watched Adam and I to see, are they in alignment? Are they partnering? Is Scott doing something Adam doesn't really want done, or is Adam doing something Scott didn't really want done? And so you ask about the secret sauce and all that. I'd say a couple things. One is we had a meeting, a same page meeting every Monday morning. That's weekly. typically no less than 1 hour, around an hour to 90 minutes. And we traded all of our notes. I would have a page of notes. He would come with a page of notes. And that's how we got on the same page. 100%. It's like Adam is a self-contained business unit. We use an awesome tool called Culture Index.
Hmm.
It's a wonderful tool to understand if you've got the right person in the right seat, uh, not necessarily the right bus, but the right seat. And so it helps you really peg that. Well, Adam's a self-contained business unit, meaning he can tend to walk into any part of the business and immediately see all the breaks. And
Mm.
owners that are listening to us know what I mean. You see kind of everything that's not the way you believe it should be operating. And you believe as an owner that if you were to go into that department that you'd fix it within a day, a week, a month, and that it would be the way you want it. But then you turn it over to somebody else, and then a month, 3 months, 6 months later, you go back in and you say, "Oh, we lost a bunch of ground there." So Adam, by nature, would do that, and he would see all this breakage. For me, it's like, Adam, every business is going to have breakage. Every business is not going to run with perfection. It's going to run toward excellence. So we have to figure out, are we happy with 80%? Because you're never going to get to 20, even though your brain tells you you could get to 100% or 95%. And so by meeting together, the secret sauce of truly identifying what I call above the line, below the line. It's like, Adam, this is what's above the line. Everything can't be above the line. Otherwise, it's not going to be successful. So we had to constantly agree on, hey, what is Scott Knuckles working on?
Mm.
Adam, what are you working on? That's above the line. And if it's not above the line, it's deprioritized. And therefore, it's on the list. We know it's there, but we are not prioritizing it. We're going to leave it where it is in the parking lot. We'll come back and pick it up later. But that helped us out a lot. The second thing I think is we had to get in our frame of reference for what our roles are. Adam would end up going to leaders on the team asking for stuff after he had asked me
Hmm.
to investigate something. And so I'm like, hey, let me manage. Like, if I'm going to own it, let me own it and do it the way I need to do it, because you're going in and you're asking for the same data, but a different view. And you want it today. I gave them next Thursday because I want them to fall in love with the problem before solving it. I want them to try to figure out if they understand what we're looking for and why, versus them just pulling data, which is what they would do, and then send that to Adam. The other final piece of the leg of the puzzle that I brought to Adam Vaillancourt Roofing was what I call a self-led culture.
Mm.
I wanted I wanted every employee to feel that they had ownership and decision-making authority over their piece of the company. When I got here, because Adam is so revered, and because it's a fact, he tends to have the right answers because he's lived through these cycles over and over again. People would naturally defer to Adam and not make decisions themselves. I said, okay,
Mm.
in order for Adam to gain freedom, decision making has to move away from Adam and move to its lowest level. So I brought in what I call self-led environment, and that's centered around three things. One is, what is each employee's definition of success? Why are they at Adam Vaillancourt Roofing? And every month, I instituted monthly business reviews. Every month, that's the first thing you start with. Has anything changed? Why here? Well, Julian, you'd say, I want to have a second home. I want to pay for my kids' college. The reason I'm at this job is because I want to do these three things. I want to retire when I'm 55. I always want to point back to those things as a reminder of why you're here. Second thing is, each employee would bring their performance. If they're going to own a piece of ABR, it's, what are your KPIs? What are the 3 to 5 things that you're on the wall for? Did you do what you said you were going to do? Did you deliver against those, or did you not deliver? And then what's your outlook for the next month, for the month that you're currently in? And then finally, the third is development. It's, what did you do? What's 1 or 2 things that you needed for me or that you were going to do to develop yourself to get better at your craft. So it's what I call results triangle built around what we call a self-led environment. And what happened is for Adam is people stopped going to him. Now that hurt a bit at first because people were starting to make decisions. And guess what? I tell the team if you're going to run a train off the track with passengers on it, then ask for some advice before you make the decision. But if it's not, make the decision, learn from it, and go forward. So those are some of the things that we had to incorporate in order to, have success here.
Scott, that was so much wisdom you just shared in that small segment there. I think it transcends home services, right? It's their business principles. From a high level, the first thing I heard is number one, you and Adam always had to be in lockstep in terms of a vision, but allow that healthy tension to take place and have earnest and honest debate as long as you are aligned with
Yes.
a vision and not ego. I think that's great. The second one was a clear division of labor and roles, making sure there's a clear understanding of who does what. And then also the self-led culture. I mean, there's so much packed into that, but I think one of the important things was you sort of decentralized decision making. So Adam was no longer the
Yes.
bottleneck. So certain aspects of the business could kind of fix and improve itself. But man, I think there's so much there. Scott, I appreciate you sharing
Yes.
everything that you did. So, um, but let's go ahead and begin to approach the topic at hand, which of course is AI. So
Yes.
let's talk about why AI matters for home services. So a lot of contractors nowadays, they still think about marketing about Google. So how has this customer behavior changed today?
It's interesting, and not to put a shameless plug in for Peakzi,
Mhm.
but where my mind opened up was going to a certain path conference. I think it was two years ago, and sitting in on the presentation, a Peakzi presentation. I ran back to my office at that time, and I believe Peakzi wasn't ready for roofing. They had such high solicitation of interest that they were trying to nail down each discipline, like plumbing, electric, HVAC, et cetera. So roofing was not prioritized initially. So we kept calling, until it finally got prioritized. But what I see today is that customers are before they're making decisions, they're going to chat. It's a novel. It was a novelty, and now people are seeing the power in it. And what I mean by that, it's people are going on and at what age should my roof need to be replaced? Or I've got a leak happening right now. Does it is that a or I had pardon me, let me back up. We just had the biggest ice dam in our history. Ice dam damage to homes this winter was horrific. What do you think people were searching for? Like, I have a leak coming into my house from my roof, and I got a lot of ice in my roof. And now they're calling us understanding way more than they ever knew before. They're calling in and saying, I have an ice dam up on my roof, and it's causing my roof to leak, and I've got damage in the house. Most of the time, people would be calling and they would say, Julian, they would say, I have water coming in my house. Don't know why, but can you come out? So they're getting educated. And then what they're doing is they're saying, well, if it's an ice dam, is that something I can fix? Or is that something I need somebody else to fix? So they're just getting these layers of knowledge that they never had before. Can I throw salt on it? Can I, and so they're learning that for a business like us, this is amazing because what people would have tried before, like just throwing salt up there or taking a pickaxe, and that's what people would do. They would take something up there, a hammer, and start beating it, and do tons of damage to the roof. And now they're saying, "Well, I have to call a roofing company." Well, what do you think their next question is? What roofing company in this area works handles ice dams? Well, now you're asking, Google doesn't do that like that. They are now obviously with Gemini, but they before it was roofing cut, roofing repair, roofing. But now you got somebody saying, "Hey, I've got ice dam damage." Who's doing that? Most roofing companies don't advertise for ice dam. They just don't. it's only going to happen in the winter. So you don't think about running it year round. But my point is you're asking about AI. The first thing I see is its ability to impact a company from a we're in the business of helping people. AI is going to help educate our customers before we ever talk to them about their issue, what they think it is. They're going to help diagnose it. So when they call, they're going to be able to provide more intelligence on what's actually happening with their roof. The second thing it's going to do, AI is going to do, is lead them to solutions, and that's companies. And they're going to, and instead of doing what Google does, which is you pay for it, you pay to have, you pay for your LSA, you pay for, your SEO so that you show up at the very top and all that. Well, now you've got people not even going there. They're going to AI and they're saying, "Hey, what company can do this for me? And can you tell me why you chose them?" We're like, "Hey, I chose Down Vaillancourt Roofing. They have really amazing reviews, and I read the reviews, and I can see that they've done a lot of ice dam work." I'm like, what? Yeah, I've scanned through their reviews and they've done a lot of ice dam work. And they've been around 23 years. They have a 4.9%. And so they look at all of these through this prism of what a customer would want to know. Okay, they're reputable, they do the work, they're local, they're this. So I think, as some people are afraid of it, businesses are afraid of it. I think for us, we would be foolish not to fully embrace what it can do.
Interesting. So the one thing that leaked out to me is that AI kind of provides you a more educated customer. Instead of asking for vague things like roofing repair, they ask for, like you mentioned, the ice dam, all the very specific things. So providing a more educated customer, and also it's leading them to solutions and referring potential solutions to the user. So so what do you
I
think is
find,
the I'm sorry, go ahead, Scott.
well, I was going to say, and I find there's a, how do I say it? There's a gap, right? If Adam Vaillancourt Roofing, as the largest residential roofer in New England, if we are not meeting the needs of customers through our blogs, through our ads, through all the things that AI is helping us with, then someone else is going to do it. And I'll give you an example. Like recently, I don't know, maybe a few months ago, I typed in what's the number one roofing company in New Hampshire, right? And here's the point I'm making is that if we don't do our own work to perpetuate who we believe are the best players, AI is going to reference maybe a company that's been in business for 5 years, and they put a blog out there, best companies in New Hampshire, and they put Adam Valancourt as number five, and they put their company as number one. And I say to business owners, don't be surprised if you show up as number five and you're looking at going, how did that company end up number one? How is it possible that somehow they fed enough information into um, the online that they got referenced. And
Mhm.
so it's like we know that we have to be the ones that are referenced. We're the biggest player. We care the most. And I don't say that from a lip service perspective. We really mean it. Like it's like we need to be out in the forefront. And I think that's where you guys have helped us so much. It's like you have to have somebody guiding you because it's always changing and it's very technical. And you'll realize, like people are saying, like I just had a conversation with your guys about pricing, and what's happening now is Google and customers, they want transparent pricing. We don't even operate that way, but we're like, okay, well, how can we give them enough to where they understand, but it doesn't cause us to have to email a quote because we will never do that, right? So we didn't know that, but we were being disadvantaged because we didn't speak about that. And so now we're like, okay, we created a calculator and some tools, and now we can be referenceable online with that, whereas before we were silent. And the sad thing is when you're silent, you're overlooked.
I think a lot of great points there. And the first is that you can control, there are things you can control in order to make yourself visible to AI.
Yes.
So let's jump into Peakzi then. So how would you explain to our viewers, our listeners, other home services leaders what Peakzi is and what it can do for
Mm.
you?
Yeah, I think the concept is brilliant, this AI thing. So I'll just share with you in my knowledge as a layman trying to learn. First, I'll say this: AI is transforming every part of our business right now as we speak. So it's not just a transformational thing for marketing. However, I would say right now that's the single most important place an owner needs to focus right now is on your marketing. I'm not saying that chat is a that it's all marketing because you're not actually spending money to drive leads through chat. You're trying to build your online presence in a way that makes you more findable, more referenceable, and more legitimate. And if you're not doing that, it's foolishness because anybody can do it. Any small company out there can make themselves appear very legitimate. And what it looks like, it's almost like a sleight of hand where you look at Adam Vaillancourt Roofing, looks like it's been in business for 3 years. And then I go online, you could look at another company, it looks like they've been in business 25, like we have, all because of the way they're engaging the online presence. So you ask about Peakzy. Here's the way I think about it. One is the creating an AI website, which makes it far more intuitive and easier for us to be referenced is a must. Like it's an absolute must. It doesn't interfere with your current website. We know that because we met with Google. I actually had meetings with Google. Google came, presented, and it does not, because you have an AI website and your traditional website, they do not conflict with each other. It's just that one, you can really streamline your hours of operation, your locations, your blogs, your FAQs, your pricing. I could go on and your services. You're able to truly take a website, make it very, very referenceable, and then they're able to use that to feed customers who need help online. And you could see it like if we and the second part, I'll just keep going. The second part I feel like is if we are the expert, we should be answering the questions customers are asking of us. So repointing a chimney, doing a metal versus a asphalt roof, rubber versus TPO. I could go on and on. A hooded gutter versus a non-hooded gutter. You have to ask as a company owner, you have to ask yourself, do you want to be the person that provides the right information to customers, or do you want somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about putting stuff out there and leading customers to make horrible decisions? We don't want that. We know there are going to be competitors. We have no problem with having competitors. We believe when we go out into the home, we can convey enough value where customers more likely than not are going to choose us. But I think we would all agree in home services, you want, if you're going to educate a customer, you want to do it in the right way so that they're making a great decision and they're not putting the wrong products and services and then turning around, have to do it again. And it gives the whole industry a black eye. We have no interest in that. So I think the AI website, which truly makes it very simple for people to understand what you do and how you do it and why you do it. And then you're creating relevant content that answers questions that customers have so that they know that, wow, I got a very reputable company telling me this is likely what's going on and this is what I need to do to rectify it.
I think there's a lot of insight there, Scott. So when it comes down to it, it's visibility, it's presence, it's sort of proactively answering questions for customers, and also presenting yourself the way you want to be presented, not being assumed by other, third party,
Yeah.
all that. So I think that's great. So what are some tangible benefits that you've already experienced that have really moved the business forward, being a Peakzy customer?
Yeah, this is what's interesting, right? Because I have my finger on the pulse of what's happening in our industry just because I'm a part of some associations, right? And what's the number one thing that is happening in our industry that's painful for every owner that's in the roofing business? It's leads. And nearly every, I just came from a partnership networking group of very strong companies. Every one of them is struggling to generate leads. Uh, I am a part of another collection of companies. What are they struggling with? Leads. What are we not struggling with? Our leads are up year over year. So you can't, by the way, cause and effect's a tough thing. You can't, when a customer calls in, we do our dead level best to triage where they came from. But you know what they say. They say, "Oh, I searched online." They don't say, "Oh, I went to Chat GPT and that's where I got the lead," or "I went to Grok," or "I went to Gemini," or "I went to Claude." They say, "Oh, I was searching online and that's how I found you," or "I saw your truck. I saw I saw one of your trucks out on the road and that reminded me to call." Every owner should have your contact center asking, "Where are people searching?" And you're going to get it. And what I'm seeing is AI just keeps going, the percentage keeps going up and up and up. It was almost like negligible. And now just every, month, 2 months, 6 months, year, it just keeps going up. But it's still small relative to the overall lead goal, even though we know customers are using it to search for us because they're just saying, "I went online and I searched," right? So, any rate, I hope I'm not being confusing, but I'm just trying to be a realist for people out there. It says, "Hey, you're going to get into it, and you're going to go, how many leads did I get from Chat GPT, and how many I get from Gemini?" And that's very hard right now. It's very hard because it's, at least from our apparatus, it's very muddy. Um, but there are customers who will directly say, I searched Chat GPT and that's how I found you guys. And you'll get those. But a lot of times people will say, "I searched you online." You say, "Oh, what did you search?" I just went online searching. You don't want to badger people, to death about it. But anyway, I hope that helps.
It does, and it sounds like what you're seeing is sort of representative of the future. That the AI leads are continuing to go up. It might be small right now, but that is the trend given how the nature of search, what people are looking for, right? How
Yes.
people are finding information. So Scott, we're almost about to land the plane here. But if you could also, do you have much experience with the AI visibility tracker? I know you're super hands-on in the product, but have you gotten much exposure to that?
I have not, I have had exposure to it.
Okay.
And I just got to look at our results. And from my understanding, we're the only one out of our cohort that actually went up. Everybody else gained ground. Is that's the analyzer, right? Tells us how well we're showing up and all that, or is it something different that you're talking?
Exactly. It's that gives you real insight into the needles that you can move, where you rank against others, and
Yes.
kind of like a dashboard to let you know where you are.
Yeah, so I just looked at our dashboard over the weekend and we were the only one that gained ground. All the other companies in our cohort went down. So that was awesome to see. And I am very numbers driven, so it's exciting to watch us improve. And it's a pride thing too, because we see some companies, we're like, "What are you doing? Because you guys aren't a good company, but you're trying to make yourself look like a great company, but you're not really." But anyway, sorry. That's
So, Scott, anything else you'd like to mention about Peakzi that would benefit our listeners and our viewers?
No, I would say maybe budgets are tight. Maybe you've got your marketing budget allocated. I would just say if I were you, I would 100%. It's not a big spend, but it's a worthwhile spend. So make sure you do it. Otherwise, you're going to be way behind. You're going to be way behind. And once you're defined, it's hard to change that moniker. So, definitely they need to get after it.
Well, thank you, Scott, very much for your words and your insights and sharing your leadership journey and just how you and Adam have worked together. I mean, there was so much great, invaluable advice that you shared today. So, Scott, close us out. Share with our listeners, how do they check out Vaillancourt? How do they connect with you on social? Tell us all that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you go to our website, adamvroofing.com. We're on LinkedIn. You can search us there. Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. If you need some help, give us a call. We're trying to, we want to be as helpful as we can, not just to customers. We're trying to change how people see home services change how people view home services. So we are more than happy to help in any way we can. So thanks, Julian. I appreciate it, man.
Wonderful. So we'll make sure to have all your contact information in the show notes. And again, thank you, Scott, and we certainly wish you and the entire team at Vaillancourt all the continued success.
Thank you so much. Take care. See ya.
Well, everyone, that's it for today's episode. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of the Home Services Success Stories podcast powered by Peakzi, the #1 AI platform for growing your home services business.